Hi, I'm Rich. You know me for writing about financial technology and artificial intelligence. And look where I am today. I'm at Money 2020 in Bangkok. Why? Because this is the heart of Asia, and we all know that Asia means business. And when it comes to AI and money, inside is where we're going to see these two tremendously important technologies come together. And I want to go beyond the hype today. I want to see exactly how these companies are using AI in everyday use. So what we're going to see is a little bit about what they're doing in regard to AI combined with money. And this is a really hot topic because not only is it about the convergence of money and AI, but it's also about a new multipolar AI world where Eastern technology meets Western technology. And Bangkok is the perfect place to see where East and West meet and come together. So let's go inside and take a look at how AI and money are coming together. Come follow me. We're going to go for a really great trip. Welcome, everyone. I'm here with Danny Levy, who is the EVP of Money 2020 for Middle East and Asia. Welcome. Thanks for being here.
Pleasure to be here. I have to be here. We're at Money 2020. We're at
Money 2020. It doesn't get any better. This year's spread different from last year's. Yep. What's the big difference?
So it's our third year here in Bangkok in Asia. And previously we had a show in Singapore actually in 2018 and 2019. And then when the pandemic hit, we had to pause, right? It was pretty severe in Asia. But during the pause, we were very intentional in figuring out where we should go when we came back to Asia. What makes Money 2020 special globally, I mean, one is that it's not a traditional B2B trade show. So most of the time you've got a big concrete hall, as many booths as possible that you can fit in. It's quite a poor delegate experience. You leave feeling pretty uninspired. You're getting sold to left, right, and center. The food hall is a 10,000-step walk. Back to the main stage. The stages are really bland and uninspired. So we try and be the complete opposite. So one is in the locations that we pick. So in the US, I guess, which is the Godfather show, that show is in Las Vegas, not in the financial center. In Europe, that show is in Amsterdam, not in London. And so in Asia, when we came back, we spoke to our customers, and overwhelmingly, our customer told us to come to Thailand. And really, that gives us that destination location, similar to the other shows. In that actually our delegates on site here at Money 2020 Asia, only around 15% are coming from Thailand. Right? Actually, it's a very pan-Asian show. 70% of the audience is from Asia, 30% is rest of the world. But because people are flying in for the event, it gives it that real focus. When people are here, they're here to do business. It's a ticketed event, it's not free. And so you feel that energy on the show floor. And because of the way we design the show, in that it's a enjoyable experience with the delegate in mind, that they come, they can learn, they can do meetings, they can have fabulous food, go to fabulous networking parties. It's all covered in your ticket, and you're not walking very far, right? It's a close distance to a food hall, to a stage, to network. So hopefully you leave feeling like, hey, I made a really good, not only monetary decision, but also time decision. Spending a week, because a week out of the office is a big commitment. If you spend a week out of the office, you need to feel like, hey, I made the right decision. And we're seeing the show grow. So actually this year it's grown well over 30%. So hopefully people are like, hey, I'm coming back as well, right? I'm enjoying what I'm doing.
So when you compare this year's show with last year's show, what do you see as being different as far as the content and technology? What's changing?
So every year what we do is we have content themes that we release. So another key difference around the show is that we actually don't invite speakers. It's an ecosystem event as well, so there's no buyer-seller dynamic. So, everyone can work with everyone can partner with everyone. A bank could be a sponsor, a bank could be a speaker.
What should they take away as to the vibrancy and the speed of Asia?
I think, historically, Asia often looked to the West, right, for inspiration. It looked to Silicon Valley, and not to say that, there's not amazing innovations that are still coming out of the West, but I think in many places in Asia, you're seeing it now take the lead. So I think, there's so much innovation. In Asia as well, the young demographics, in a lot of places, they've kind of skipped that, that legacy infrastructure issue, which is obviously a challenge, in other places, and they've gone straight to mobile first, mobile adoption. So I think if you want to see what's next in fintech, you almost need to be here on the ground in Asia to understand. I've seen countless companies set up and within a year or two shut down and leave the region, right? And it's because they don't integrate themselves properly. They don't have the right local talent. They don't set up the right local partnerships. They're not patient enough. They have an entire Asia strategy rather than picking their battles and going into markets and having a long-term mindset and framework. And so, to succeed in the region here, it's not a short-term play. You have to be here for the long run. You have to invest in the region, and you have to be someone that actually thinks locally. And make sure that you've got the right team in place and you're talking the right language if you want to succeed.
So I want to wind up with the tagline for the conference, which is?
The tagline is where Asia does business.
Which I think probably best represents everything that you have going on in the floor that's at least facing in my direction right now. And it's really amazing. We've got companies that are local, Thailand, we've got companies from all over Asia, we've got big multinationals here, and it's really just all about doing business in Asia, which is hot.
It is, absolutely. I think the magic is you have your ticket, you come in, and it's that serendipitous moments, right? You're rubbing shoulders with CEOs, founders, builders, people in the trenches, and you never know what that next conversation is going to take you.
Love it. Thank you so much for having us all here.
Thank you,
it was a pleasure.
Thank you for having me on. Really enjoyed the conversation.
Take care. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey,
hello, good to see you.
Hey, listen, I loved hearing your presentation right now on the big stage. I was amused because you're Ant Digital, and everybody associates you with payments. How do you deal with that every day?
Yeah, no, thanks for asking. In the context of Ant Digital Technologies, we are very fortunate to take on the ambition to accelerate some of our technology commercialization to help the industry to move towards the next generation of digital infrastructure.
So what was interesting for me is that you actually called this existential. Your super app is already an advanced creature, if you will. It's a pretty advanced technology. But even for you, this is an existential element?
If we don't act fast enough to transform ourselves, to help our customers leverage the opportunity of using AI to fast track some of the transformation, we may be talking next year and maybe parts of our business will be so disrupted that it may not look the same anymore, and it may be too late to recover.
What's a really nice example of something that you've done for a client that works, just so that I can kind of get my head around this concept of not the payment company, the AI company?
Yeah, so we've been fortunate to help different financial institutions. We have a Central Asia customer known as BCC, started what we call, let's just call it, even a super app, I don't see it as traditional, but let's just call it traditional super app, where they started how we built in, right, leverage the AI to really help them to move from just an app that a lot of people use into a super app where it's intelligent enough to understand who's using it and then give them personalized services and recommendation. Now, that personalization can come through, for example, in the context of a mini program. So that's one example.
So what's interesting about this is B2B AI. This is AI with, for lack of a better term, extraneous bits cut off. Something that's specifically focused to serve business in its business use cases, which is really different than the concept of taking a large language model that has everything, all knowledge built in, and saying, okay, we're applying you to a financial services app, which only uses a very small bit.
That's right. And Richard, you made a really good point. We were in many customers' site, right? We were working with them. We built the 2C part for them. What can we do more in the AI era to help, right? So this is why we started to talk about, for example, things like model as a service, because there's a lot of demand and curiosity for customers to look at, for example, access to different Eastern AI models, but of course in the form of tokens. So what can we do as an Ant Digital Technologies group to just help our customers to access that level of intelligence, but at the same time adding our own, what I call special sauce, which is not only to have access to the different model ecosystem, we are also embarking on a journey of Ling Digital Technologies model, we're known as Ling DT, to bring in our financial services know-how into some of these models, and then our customers will be able to leverage our model as a service to deliver a high quality outcome and leverage some of our 2C know-how so that the end result is with quality, with sufficient robustness because it's financial services, and at the end of the day, at the right ROI.
So I have to ask, because this is probably the biggest question that you must get, ROI and productivity. So when you talk about pushback, there's a ton of articles out there already saying our AI ROI is low or problematic, and that must be something you deal with.
Last year's conversation about AI transformation has been cost and productivity. Interestingly enough, this year, I can't believe it's only been 4 months, less than 4 months, 90% or more of the conversation has been on revenue generation. And that shows you the worry and the anxiety of decision makers about, am I getting the right bang for buck with my AI investment? So naturally, there's only two levers to pull when it comes to ROI. Either you're making more money or you're spending less money. So if last year was about extracting productivity to spend less, I want everyone to think of it the other way, flip it around. Can AI make your business pie bigger. So let's first figure out increasing the pie, then think about managing or so-called optimizing the cost, right? Capture the opportunity first.
If you had one closing thought for people working in this intersection of AI, fintech, what would it be?
We are at day 0 of the AI transformation journey. If you don't embrace it now, I firmly believe that you will be left behind.
I'm just going to ask this to expand a little bit.
Sure.
An AI native bank.
Yep.
This is leapfrogging or long far ahead of most traditional banks that are stuck with legacy technology.
Yeah, I think we were also incredibly privileged to build a bank from scratch in 2023. As you know, generative AI was gaining traction, the models are becoming better. So we saw how the industry and people are more used to conversational, doing everything through ChatGPT, right? So we thought in order to be different, and because our sister company is also an AI native company, right? YTL built data center for NVIDIA, we built and developed our own LLM, sovereign to Malaysia. It's a perfect ecosystem to also build a bank around those ingredients. We have to adopt the technology and remove friction from everyday banking experience. So we see, Gen Z being comfortable with offering instructions to send money, split bills to their friends and family. Equally, we see the older generation who are used to going to a branch, and then now, because it's natural, they can type and send money to their kids. So I think it has really closed the gap in terms of reachability of banking products. Yep.
So for you, the ROI is clear
Yep.
in how you're using AI because it's an essential ingredient of your bank.
Yeah, I think ROI can be measured not just by dollar values that you get back. We believe that will come. If you build the right product, right bank for the people, it has proven that they will sign up and we will have the customers. But also in the data that our recent NPS score is 76, which is mind-blowing for a bank, but also for many of the digital consumer apps out there. So I think that just shows that users love the interface, the technology that we bring, and that in itself is an initial ROI. It validates what we do.
In the biggest macro perspective, looking down on all of these booths and all these people, what do you see as the biggest trend?
Everybody is seeking for a pioneer solution and trying to get closer to consumer, and but definitely we all know that they would like to seek for the AI solution, AI agentic solution, not for the future, but for now. We are partnership with MasterCard, and they enable the AI agentic dialogue within their app, so that what eLife do is to enable them to be a super app in the future, because we enable them with a mobility services within this AI agent.
What I'm hearing out of this is agentic AI making services more personal, making them your services, bringing them personalization.
Yes, exactly. And we know them, the AI knows them, what they prefer, so it can be price cheaper, it can be very convenient, can be very quick, and close the loop, you got the payment within the AI agent,
Done.
Easy.
Sounds wonderful. So I can't help but ask, G&D is famous because they love physical and digital put together into that buzzword that's called
right,
phygital.
The phygital world.
And how is AI going to work in this phygital world?
So the way we use AI in the phygital world is how do we enable the issuance of the card using different technologies of AI, making different types of cards that the customers want to customize.
Sure.
Not using the traditional bank cards, making sure they can put their photos of their loved ones, the anniversary, whatever the photos of their, they want to put on the card, and have the customization. So we're starting with the physical issuance of AI and AI generated cards, so you can design those cards using those AI images to vet, to make sure their copyright infringements are all be looked at.
I never thought of that.
Exactly, so we use AI to understand what sort of information gets loaded, and then using from the digital side to understand where the customer's behavior is when you physically pay, and how you use that information to feed that back to the bank so they can use that information for various data points.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure chatting with you.
Great to see you.
I hope you enjoyed my take on Money 2020. And what I hope you got out of this is to see how AI has come out of the laboratory, out of trials, out of proof of concept to real live applications in the real world. When you think money today, you can't think about money alone and how it's transferred. You have to think about money and AI working together. There is a bright future for AI and for fintech in Asia. Reach out, leave a comment. Please, I'd love to hear from you.